Right. So, you hear a small call from Mo.
Oh. Aiden, I think this is for you.
But he made sure to carry on. After all, someone needed his help. Someone needed a lift on where they were going. Mo heard that they were planning to travel to Akiton at one point.
You heard right. Send us the details and we'll take them there for you.
Mo should have mentioned, but they know you. And with that, the communication cuts off from Mo.
That was rather quick and curt.
Who does Mo know that would know us, though?
Maybe some of his police buddies. You gotta remember, I have been doing some work for them since, you know, my marks are on the station. We've worked with some of the local security quite a few times. Maybe it's one of his boys. Who knows?
So as you do look up, you eventually do get a small profile. Apparently this person needs a lift to Akiton for personal business. After they've had trouble finding transport off the Absalom for a while now.
You've gotta be fucking shitting me.
Apparently they requested your group specifically.
What's your problem, Aiden?
My problem is that he shot at me and he's a fucking terrorist.
I mean, it was his job, though. You would have did the same thing if you were paid to be on their side. Prava kind of tilts his head and is like, that's not how this works for your type?
Aiden just doesn't say anything. He just stares at the profile. Why the hell would he request us?
So you're going to invite him to the landing pad then?
No, I'm going to reluctantly open the door for him.
Okay, so it's going to take around about 30 minutes once you've accepted. And in about half an hour, Cavalli is eventually going to arrive. The age of Blacken is very clear. He's got grey bits. One of his eyes is a little closed. You can see that one of his coat arms is missing. Seems purposely ripped off for some reason, but the coat itself is probably just as old as the person wearing it. The rifle that he shot at you with is firmly on his back as he walks up towards the ship.
Thiveron will walk out and since he can see, I will greet him in Blacken sign language. And politely ask him to relinquish any firearms.
If that is the request, then so be it. And you see him take off the rifle, takes out the pistol under his coat and a knife as well, and then basically offers them out to you. Keep them safe.
I will take them and say, in Blacken, I will. It's just some of us are a little, you understand, a little bit wary about allowing you onto our ship after the last time we met.
As he's staring towards your mouth to read your lips, I understand. Some have sore feelings, I suspect.
Hello, welcome to our ship. It's so nice to meet you.
Some more than others, I see.
Yeah, as Prava's saying that, I'll sign back to him after slinging his stuff around my shoulders. Take it as a compliment.
I will. Greetings, Prava, I believe.
That's right. I guess we have met briefly. Prava's talking to him telekinetically, by the way, because, you know, deaf. Bug that's hard to read. But we didn't get a chance to chat. I'm really happy to have you aboard my ship.
It is good you accepted my request. After all, it's much easier to go through somebody like you than any other organization.
Oh, I mean, we're the best at what we do, so I understand why you choose to work with us.
And with that, you see him starting to head on inside, rubs his eye a bit, strokes his overgrown mole hair. It's like, ugh, finally rest.
By the way, since I'm on the bridge, can I check if there's any specific bounties on his head and if there's any people looking for him that are willing to pay for his head?
But you can look it up if you do me a computers check.
Okay.
Can I do a separate computers check to find out my own bounty?
Yeah, sure. So, essentially, as you look into it, first, let's go Aiden's. Right, as you first look into it, you see that, yeah, bits and pieces, there are some criminals on Vices that wanted his head, so they posted, minor bounties on his head. Nothing really went from it. But one of a major one, going to at least a few thousand, which is around about right now 4,700 on his head, is some organization that call themselves the Liberation Front.
Can I look into this organization, see what they're about real quick?
Essentially, you know from experience that this is basically a front name. There's nobody would call themselves the Liberation Front.
Yeah, that's dumb.
But from your experience, it's clearly somebody in a position that cannot have their name revealed. That's typically how they're used.
So nobody legit has a bounty on him, only shady people. That's all I needed to know.
And Prava, your own bounty stands at around about a nice cool about 3,000. But the problem with this bounty is like it must be taken in alive.
Gotcha. Don't want to ever meet whoever put that one out. It can only be bad news.
Yeah, this one seems a bit disturbing. Like celebrity, I don't want to meet them. Sort of disturbing. It's like you must be private and alive, unharmed at all costs.
Yeah, be a speck of dirt on his fabulous shell.
Pretty much is how it reads. It's like,
Okay, probably gonna close that window, regretting looking into it.
The price of being a celebrity, Prava. Yep, everything's been nicely loaded up, readied, just for your all your amusements. Eventually the doors on the ship start to close, the rattle, the area is evacuated, so then the doors of the landing pad can open up and allow you to start lifting off through the force shield. Eventually, you are soon out into the void of space. The glittering colors of the universe before you. And now you also have an icon for your space station over Akitam. Isn't it cute?
I like it.
Will you give me a piloting roll if you're going to head straight there?
Yep.
Or did you wish to speak to Kavol first?
If we bump into each other as they're putting him away in the smuggler's compartment, Aiden just uses sign language and says, "Don't cause any trouble," and that's all he tells him.
Kavol just simply nods at this, and yeah, he goes into the smuggling compartment before you lift off, and as you're lifting off, he's very quiet inside. Just like, And you do manage to bypass security because I was completely unable to roll over the required DC. Absalom security sucks. Like, Versi security kicked ass. Absalom security sucks ass. Probably because they have a hub of trade. They can't check every place that comes in.
Yeah, they've got the cushy jobs, so they've been complacent.
Yeah, exactly.
High-profile people like us, they wouldn't suspect us of committing any crimes, so...
They're just like, oh, just leave it to the computer to scan them. It's like they're always coming and going. It's fine. 2 days. Jeez, you're always so well rolling for drift travel.
I'm the best pilot in the galaxy.
It's like, yes, just pilot past here. Yes, that strange cloud part. Just circle around here. And soon enough, you feel some of the systems in the ship power down for a moment. You're pretty sure the smuggling compartment's life support cut out for a second, but you're sure he'll be fine. And soon, the world starts to rip apart, and woof, you dive into the drift. Now, I'm gonna have to roll for you.
I hate how you say that.
What do you mean?
Foreboding.
Well, I always describe it like 40k style, like with ships going into the warp.
You don't know if you're gonna be beset by demons.
Exactly, because it looks exactly like the warp.
Here's the thing, Thiveron. You worry about what's out there. I worry about what's inside our very own ship.
You are very rude. He said. You hear Kavol says as he comes out of the smuggling compartment and up to the bridge.
Who let him out of there?
As you are traveling through the drift, you see bits and pieces of rock just slowly floating past you, drifting left and right. Now, I was going to have a small encounter here, but I think a different encounter is needed, since I did want Bryn to try out ship combat. So since she's not here, we'll save that for a different time. But I do have a backup thing. You actually start getting a small caution signal. Basically a caution signal that's saying containment in operation, please stay back.
What the hell?
Containment.
Yeah, maybe we should listen. Normally, a danger sign is like a warning of excitement and adventure to come. But I don't like the sound of containment.
Would you also roll me culture, Aiden?
Okay, I was about to say, can I roll engineering to see what's going on? Since I'm kind of trained this, so...
You and anybody with mysticism can also roll.
24. Yeah.
First things first, we'll go down the list. Aiden, you recognize this as not an official sort of signal. This is definitely an independent signal. You know official signals because they've told you to fuck off so many times in the past. Like, your people having to deal with them is, annoying.
So, where's the signal coming from?
It seems to be somewhere in the drift. You could probably take a small detour and it wouldn't even affect your, like, where you move.
Yeah, let's see if we can pick up something on the scanners just to be safe.
As you start to get closer to the area, you eventually see these wrecked pieces of debris floating. They almost seem familiar, in fact, as if you'd seen them in the past, as these are bits and pieces of church, like some sort of religious building floating in the ether. Bits of rock off to the side. Seems like as if the place was just scooped up with giant hands and placed here.
Are there any like noticeable religious symbols or like carvings in any of the chunks of rock?
Roll me perception. As you're basically using the scanner, the outside cameras to check around. Ah, it seems like this church, despite its rather bright and white marble exterior, belonged to the religion of Plasma. By the way, if you do not know what that is, since I'm just not going to even bother having most of you roll.
The goddess of the cycle of death. The
Yes.
judge of the dead.
That is correct. Since this is a big god, a very common god, you guys would probably know it straight off. Unless you feel like your character is so not into religion. But yes, Thiveron, brother, you would know
Hearing that
it
Thiveron
is.
will not realize he was making a joke and say, well, Phrasma is more the goddess of the cycle of death. She judges your soul when you die and sends you to the plane that you deserve to be on.
So, what's her view on mercenaries?
You might not be sent to hell, Aiden, but maybe somebody like the Jackal would.
And when he says, he mentions that, he looks back towards his blackened friend and says nothing.
I know where I'm heading.
And Thiveron will say, it's more about how your actions align to the outer planes more than it is whether you are naughty or nice. And then I also want to do my because they're asking me whether or not this is a good idea. I want to further exploit my ability to see into the future. And hiya,
Wow.
Ah,
along with the hiya ability.
use an augury and rock your gift.
Yeah, add my caster level of 6 to the percentage of whether or not I learn it, whether it's going to be a good or bad thing for us to walk in there or both.
And since you also have that unique thing from your patron, essentially as you do that, you look up towards like the church for a moment. You feel a strong pull. You're not exactly looking at it because you're blind, of course, but you feel a strong pull. And as you do, you hear an almost whisper-like quality come through the like comms, but you hear the terms "whale, whoa."
Thiveron, after spending some time meditating, after initially telling them about Pharasma and what we can likely expect. And he will say, I've gotten mixed signals from Talavet about this church. I think we should investigate. There is danger, though.
You would hear one more thing as well, saying, beware the azure hounds.
And Aiden again draws his attention to their guest and says, what are we gonna do about him?
Old. I've had enough adventure, if I'm completely honest.
And Aiden, with all due respect, we are in the middle of the drift. Without access to the ship controls, he is stuck here without us.
There's like several monitors that are around the cockpit that just suddenly change to this animated, like almost like animated blue eye just blinking towards Kaval, just ding 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 ding.
It's just
It's like 1984.
it's like
Kaval looks a little freaked out at this. It's like, huh.
Aiden gets up
Alright.
from the pilot seat and starts getting his gear ready. Alright then, let me swing by my room to get my gear and I'll be ready to go.
dude.
Thiveron, while Thiveron hands the pistol back to our friend here and says, keep it from Aiden, but just in case things go horribly wrong. I know you'd prefer to have something to defend yourself.
He nods and takes it. Thank you, brother. I wish you luck. I will wait in the meantime. So you guys are getting ready and heading down, are you?
Yep, Aiden goes to his room, picks up his weapons, his armor, he gears up, he's ready to go.
I think it wouldn't take anything to just jump towards it, to be honest. I don't think I'll make you make a jump checks right now.
I'd use my grappling hook if it seemed like it was a difficult jump.
I want a style.
I was gonna say the exact same thing. Prava's like jumping around showboating. He'll like jump towards a place where there's no rock and then like telekinetically pull one over to jump off of.
As you're coming over, you see that you're in front of very large wooden doors as in front of the church. There's not enough space to edge around the sides of the church unless you do some, well, complex aerobatics to attempt so.
What about climbing up? Can I see a window above the door somewhere so I can take a peek inside?
I mean,
Only
I
a stained glass one.
I jetpack around the complicated jumps.
If you want to take a quick look into the stained glass window, you can.
I'll climb up the wooden door with my creepy claws and take.
Right. If like several people, I'm gonna just assume several of you are going up.
Everybody but Thiveron just scuttles up the wall.
No, if everybody's taking side routes and Thiveron's just there like, what the fuck's going on? I'm gonna stay with Thiveron.
Right. So you go up to the round stained glass area up above and you peek inside. Would you both roll me perception? As you peer on inside, you don't see anybody inside. It seems very empty. But as you look to the back of the church, you notice something. Even past the stained glass window obscuring your view, you see what appears to be some sort of door that's very out of place. It's almost embedded in the wooden floor at the back, and burn marks are exiting from it. You can swear you feel eyes on you when you look at it.
I was gonna try the door, see if like you said there was like wooden doors to get into this.
Yes, two large wooden doors.
I'm gonna give those a try.
As you open, it does seem like it's unlocked. Do you hear? Do you keep on pushing?
Heck yeah.
I'm gonna step back.
As you do, you hear a small click. So as the click happens, you hear basically another sound, a sound reminiscent of loaded guns as they're cocked and pointed towards the door. And as you open them, you see one person holding what appears to be a sniper rifle down and what seems to be like some sort of switch in his hand, and then another one behind the small stone corner holding up his assault rifle, while two glowing blue hounds are like sat like growling towards the door. You hear, freeze.
You guys are pretty well armed for pilgrims, huh?
And just in case you wanted to know what they looked like,
This is like SEAL Team Magic Dog here.
I mean, that's kind of awesome.
I don't know why, but I'm getting Enclave vibes for some reason.
you have entered a restricted area. State your business.
Whose authority?
Under our authority, the one holding the bombs detonator that you just tripped.
Is that supposed to be threatening?
Yes, we will survive. You will not.
Ash, while this is happening, do you mind real quick I do something while Prava's talking with these guys?
What would you like to do?
I would like to first of all trigger this. And then I wanna spot at Prava's feet what clicked and see if I can't work to disarm it from there. If it seems like it's not gonna work or if it's gonna take a while, I'm going to try to sneak into the church and get closer to the guy holding the trigger.
It seems like it's not visible around the door, maybe behind the door.
Okay, I wanna stealthily sneak inside and take a peek behind the door, see if I can't mess with it.
Roll stealth. Let me roll for this. Okay, as you know in, you see the guys, like they haven't noticed you at all, but then you hear as one of the dogs are like lowering itself down, and it's definitely lowering itself down towards you, almost presenting its horns as daggers.
Can I take a culture check to see if I can maybe identify who these people are?
You can attempt, so yes.
Not garbage.
Oh, nice. That's actually rather good, actually. Since
We wanted like above 30 though.
these people, you recognize the small hound-like symbol on their armor. You also somewhat recognize like the overall theme of them, but you can't tell from where. But you swear that your church has worked with these people before.
Thiveron will step forward and raise a spear in a non-threatening way, like kind of up over his head, and just say, "I am a priest of Talavet. I have come here to help contain whatever the warning was given for. I come from the temple on the Adari." Thiveron will look back toward everybody else and nod to lower their weapons.
I mean, Prava never manifested his weapon, so.
What about you, Kuzon? Because by the way, Aiden, he cannot physically see you. You know this. Only that one dog has saw you.
Yeah.
I'll put my new gun away and kind of grumble that I didn't get to shoot it.
It's like, damn, didn't get to blast these guys' heads off. So, as you do, these guys also lower their guns, and you see him bring his hand towards the trigger, basically press on it a few times, pull something out, and then let go. Seemed like some sort of dead man switch as he puts it away. Okay, device is neutralized. However, we cannot let you in, but not without proper trust.
How can we prove that?
Perhaps I should call my captain over. He turns around for a moment to look back, and you see one other person who's not even looking at the situation. He seems to be looking squarely over the door, and he does give a sort of nod towards some of you. Seems like the captain may agree. However, watch yourselves.
So
What you're experiencing is a cognito hazard. We don't need you worsening the effects.
I don't intend to.
A what hazard?
What's this deal with a bomb? Why do you want to blow this place up?
As you say that, first they move in back into original positions, and yes, I'm moving you to a map. One I made last night in about an hour.
So Prava's been staring at the door for like a while now. As soon as he checked out the conversation, he started staring into the door.
Yes, I should bring up a proper picture of the door right about now.
Darn, it's still like 75 feet away. If I try to walk like 15 or 20 feet into the room, are these guys gonna react?
These guys do seem still a little on edge. So, but the three of you, be careful. This is a hazard. The captain seems to want you here, but don't aggravate it.
I mean, what kind of hazard? Is this some kind of dark magic thing? Because something of an expert on dark magic.
Book like hiding on your back is like, yes, dark magic. It's like the guys go, we mentioned before, it's a magical cognito hazard. It affects the minds of those who approach it. We've done several tests, and we already know some of its effects.
Have you guys been influenced by it much? As a psychic, I could always look over your mind and see if there's any abnormality.
We are highly prepared. This is our job. Do not worry about us.
Of course, of course.
Upon hearing this, Thiveron will stand up and take his spear off the ground and walk toward the door. Well, toward the captain.
The captain's in the back. They just watch you as you pass on by.
By the way, since they're doing this and my stealth suit's about to run out, Aiden actually slowly and quietly retreats back and exits the church before his stealth runs out, and I'm going to use my climbing boots and glove sets, and I'm gonna start scaling the side of the church, trying to avoid the windows.
Okay. The sound here is definitely muffled, though there is gravity here. As I have not said, there is zero gravity. So you do gotta have to use athletics, because the building is a bit uneven.
Okay.
As you climb. After all, this building's not best put together, but you definitely manage to like put your arms where they need to, avoid some of which some of them almost break off, but you manage to keep them in as you crawl across. This is what the door actually looks like. You can see that it's cracked slightly open, mist pouring through it while many eyes dot its landscape. Creatures of all designs seem to be mashed together. You see a dragon head in there, you see some sort of knight, you see some eldritch abomination in the back. It's twisted, gnarled. I see. So it seems like its hazardous effects extends to ship-wide areas. Interesting.
Kuzon, I imagine Kuzon just like lifts his hand up from the back, like after he's done hanging out with the dog, and it's like, why don't you just blow it up?
It is true, we could, but we were hired to contain it.
Allow me to attempt to identify its properties, and then I will cast Detect Magic and Identify. 34.
Okay. By the way, that wee was adorable.
That was my wife running forward.
Wee!
I understand why you married her, Joe. Good job.
Yep. But as for what you sense, you can sense rather strongly and tell that this door is currently always active. There is no real command words that you need to enter it. It seems like all you have to do is knock on a door and enter inside. As for its magical effects, the door itself is a portal, but what its effects are after you enter it are unknown to you.
I will say, has anybody entered this portal?
Yes, we sent a few test subjects through.
What happened to them?
A few things. That is why we didn't want you to come near. In fact, we have done extensive testing and identifying of the object. We are magic users ourselves, after all. A part of the Gromhound initiative. Aiden, would you roll me culture?
Culture, you say?
This is what you remember of what he just said about Gromhound. We have already discovered some of its interesting effects.
You put people through the scary door?
This is going to turn into a drama.
It's like, only test subjects.
Test subjects? Like, willing participants or like people that you guys?
One was a willing participant, two were not. However, the other two were well known for their heinous crimes.
Bidding in the Temple of Pharasm to pass fatal judgment upon those before their time.
Yes, very fitting, I would say. But I would not feel sorry for them. Serial killers and those of much worse crimes. Apart from Jerry. Poor Jerry.
What happened to Jerry?
We don't actually know. He did not return. Not like the other two. You see, this door, and he like gestures towards you, almost making a grandiose spectacle. He seems to be loving this shit. And you see him like make a grandiose gesture towards the door. This door seems to hold a rather interesting machination. As you see, when you enter, you are brought before a stronger being. Be that a deity, perhaps even a god. Anything with power over your current situation, and you may make a deal. Though the deals thus far have not been, well, let's just say it's like a deal with a devil. There's always a catch. But we're trying to see if there may be some good deals to be had. And if not, then we may destroy it.
I mean, if you're looking for more test subjects.
Oh, you volunteering? You sound... let me see. What would be a good skill roll? What's a skill roll to detect bullshit?
Sense motive.
Yeah.
Yeah, sense motive. Everybody there can sense motive if they've got one. Prava and Thiveron, he's not hiding it very well. It seemed like he almost expected you to do this. As if you guys poking your nose into the situation would eventually lead you to being, well, the next ones to go through the door.
I don't want to go in the scary door,
As a
guys.
man of the mystic arts, I'm fascinated by magic such as this. I would love a chance to investigate such things for myself.
Wonderful.
Prava, no.
Thiveron,
Maybe-
now, I've already decided that I will go into the door to see what I can do.
Thiveron, no.
Ah, good, good. I should warn you in all fairness, however, what happened to the others. You already know the fate of Jerry and did not return. But the other two, the two test subjects did return. Seems like with recording devices recovered from their bodies, one of them tried to wish that he was no longer captured by us. Well, and he gestures out to the drift, and you almost see what appears to be a body out there. Seems like the entity took that quite literally. He is no longer captured by us.
Thiveron will look towards and say, "Do not speak out of turn when we go through that door."
Wording your words carefully is very important, but they will ask for something in return. It is a deal, after all. If you want, then you can wear these recording devices. He brings out 2 recording devices out.
Oh, don't worry, I got my own.
Oh no, these are these are designed to make sure that they're not damaged in transit through the magical planes. So please, if you plan on going through the door.
Okay, okay.
Who is first? Who steps up to the door
I
first?
bet this fucking guy's like, oh sweet, we didn't even have to do or capture anybody. These people are just going on their own. Perfect.
Yeah, it's like, oh wow, I was hoping, like, you know that these guys are normally quite stand-up, even if they are a little rough with magical anomalies. You know that they're pretty stand-up from a reputation of a merc unit, so they wouldn't have just captured and threw you guys in. But you can tell this captain guy is, like, super hyped that you guys are stepping through the door. 41, Thiveron, and you are first.
Can't wait to be face to face with Asmodeus.
As you step on through the door portal, it's almost from the deep dark mist that consumes you of purple, almost flame-like mist. It suddenly turns into almost blinding light, so white, so bright. And
I mean, it doesn't blind me.
oh well, of course, it doesn't blind you. Yeah, that's a good point. I keep describing that, and I'm like, no, wait, he's blind. You suddenly see a being sitting on nothingness. Wings are floating around their body, but many of them are floating around the top of their head, as despite the white skin, the blackened nails, the finery that they wear, along with a pure white suit with a black shirt, they have no head. In the head is a golden ring with many eyes staring towards you, almost looking half bored and half amused by who arrived. Looking behind you, you see that you're in an area that is crumbling. A church almost akin to one you stepped through, but, well, it's in ruins, in an empty field of green, bright grass. And this is a picture that I said I did have, since he was used for inspiration.
I don't trust him.
You can see him looking towards you, waiting for you to step forward more through the door.
Yeah, Thiveron steps forward through the door and then simply finds a spot on the stone and places a spear before him and waits for the being to speak to him.
As you do place your spear before you, you finally notice that there is a chain around your wrist. The chain leads all the way back towards the door. It's hooked on to one, like, inside of the door, as if that's where you came from. The being looks down towards you and goes, "Welcome, my child.
And who is it that I have the pleasure of speaking to?"
You may call me Solar."
Thiveron will nod and say, "I came through a door. I'm investigating its origins. Would you be able to tell me why there is a door in a chapel that leads to your domain?"
I see. So you came from one of the doors. Then you have come to make a deal. That is the purpose of the doors. To connect beings that have something to sell and beings that need something.
Thiveron will look up at him and say, "I wish for you to tell me a story."
A story? An exchange of words. This is the deal you wish to make? Hang on, I'm going to roll for something. You see all 7 of his eyes. Each was looking different directions, using different emotions but one, but now they all look towards you, looking amused, almost happy, as wisps of light dance across the ring and down his suit. Fine. I will allow this. And in exchange, I will take a story from you.
He will say, "If you don't mind," and he will reach into his bag and pull out his master's recording cylinder.
As you take it out, he begins as soon as you allow him to. And he speaks of an age where this world was dying to the ravages of chaos, until they prayed with all their hearts for their angelic saviors to help them. However, the Celestials that they called brought absolute order. And as he gestures around, you do notice something about the lands. It's grass. There's no hills, no mountains. It's a perfectly blue sky, there's no clouds. It's uniform, apart from the church. That's all that's here. Just grassland and emptiness. They fought to reset this world, but now it is in a stagnant state, unable to grow, die, or even change in any way. Perhaps it is the fate that you should not trust those just because they have angelic power. or perhaps to word what you desire from them better. He goes on to tell you a little bit more about it, of course. The history of a world that was once here, the people of the steeps. This land used to be full of crags where water seeped and flowed through the world, where people survived and battled back beings from another world. They were simple people, but strong people. This tale you may call the people of the steppes, a fallen people who only wanted the best for them. And with that, you see him gesture out, and almost strings of white echo around you for a moment before he gives a small pull, and almost a small white orb comes from you into his hand. And with that, you know what you've forgotten. You've forgotten one of your tales.
No.
The tale of the bomber is wiped from your mind. You can never recall this tale again, even if someone was to tell it to you over and over. And I have wiped it from your storybook as well.
No.
One tale for another. Better than what most ask me.
Thiveron will stand up and kind of dust himself off and collect his recorder and say, "It was a pleasure hearing your story. It will be heard."
Good. Then go along. You may return to your realm.
Before I leave, how would I go about closing this door that I've come through?
To close it permanently, I suppose. Or just to lock it up. That is simple.
Be sufficient.
Once you leave, the chain around your arm will remain. If you let it drop to the floor, it will simply go into the door. If you wish to close it, then wrap it around the handles once you close the door. Then it will be closed and, well, only those who wish to open it again proper will be able to do so. It should not have any more ill effects, I suppose, that you've come through.
Thiveron will nod respectfully and exit the door.
Alright, so, Kuzon, you enter through the door, and thematically I will tell you that I am cheating just a little bit because I want you to meet this one that's just 1 point higher than you rolled, so just a little bit, because this is going to be prime. Sadly, I don't have a picture for this one, but it's very thematic. Right, as you enter into the door, you suddenly come out of the door into a landscape of machines, parts. As you see towering structures. For a moment, there doesn't seem to be anyone around. You do have a chain, though this one is on your tail. Roll me computers. Because it does seem here you're connected to the Packed Worlds. Like the Packed Worlds internet still, where you are. As you look around, you start checking, and you like turn on your location beacon. It's like, turn that on. No, I don't want notifications. And as you turn it on, you find yourself on, well, a video palette you've heard of in the Packed Worlds called Avalon. This is the world of the living machines. You can see off in the distance cities of grandiose design, uniform in their almost, well, machine-like properties. You see almost like worker bees all the way around it. Out in here, it seems like a scrap wasteland. Behind you is more of a cove than a church. The door planting itself right into the dirt.
I'm chained to the door.
Yes, you chain to it, and the chain goes into the doorway.
I want to go see the cool city.
It doesn't seem you can go far from the door. However, as you do step forwards, you hear what sounds like rustling metal. Metal pieces bend and twist up, almost into a humanoid shape, but There's so much missing from it, you can barely make out it's even meant to be humanoid. About 1 or 2 pieces of floating metal make up its arms, its legs, its chest. In the center of its chest seem to be an old dead battery. Lights and diodes make up its eyes, its forms this way. It says, you exited from that door. All
Yeah,
the
it's
while I
freaking
wish
shit.
to meet an organic. Marvelous. He reaches out and a few more pieces of metal float up to form up his fingers, almost as he's attempting to touch you.
He's like reaching out to touch me.
Yes.
I'll like stop him with my metal arm and say, like, hey, I'm not all organic, buddy.
Ah, interesting. A mix. I have never met an organic before.
Never?
I do not know why, but it seems like my desires come true from the door.
If you have a unique piece of technology or a unique substance that doesn't fall squarely into the periodic table, I'd like to have the opportunity to invent something new.
You wish to invent something new? Let me think. And you see the junk suddenly, almost as if it's going off to search for something.
So, nobody in the city ever comes down to you?
As you talk, you see another form, like, off to your left suddenly, and he goes, they do, but they are like me. They have seen organics before, so most of them. But they are machines, built.
Kuzon kind of like waits. Like, sometimes I prefer machines over organics. I find it a lot easier to read the intention of machine people. They usually speak in less riddles. They usually use more precise language, you know.
I have an item, if that is of significance. But if you wish something to make something with, I could give you something that was thrown out recently. I do not know what it is. And he produces what appears to be very thin, almost like it's almost like a spider built out of metallic web. And you see, there's like these pair of gloves. So these are the items. However,
like,
there's also
it's
this.
like a mesh. It's like a mesh pair of gloves, almost.
Yes.
Okay.
And he places down another object. Perhaps if you study this, you may be able to make something. And I guess the third item would be this. And he puts down a credit sheet, since you mentioned before.
Is it platinum?
How much money is that?
It seems to be it seems like some sort of black card, so it could have any amount on it.
Ah.
It could be small, could be wide. It seems like this guy doesn't really understand credits.
So there's mesh gloves, some like weird, odd-looking piece of junk somebody threw out, and then a cred stick.
Yes. Perhaps I should take something. This is a deal, after all. He's looking towards your arm. He reaches down.
It's a unique piece of tech, but Kuzon would know how to remake it, so here.
But it wouldn't be the drill that took it anymore. You lose like
I mean, you are right, aren't you? Because this is made from the drill.
It's time to upgrade.
I have to do. I just need to do one thing. I'm gonna open up a hatch of my arm, and I'm gonna pull out the memory chip of the drill. I'm gonna hand it to Arm.
Your material doesn't matter as long as I can punish you for taking my arm forever.
So good.
Okay then. So I assume you also take the stuff out of it?
Yeah.
He's going to reach down, and these thin pieces of metal that make up his fingers basically slip between your shoulder, like your shoulder blade where your robotic arm is made, and suddenly, shing, you feel like the sensors on your hand, it didn't feel of anything as he just took your arm, almost as he severed it super quickly. And as he does that, you see the arm split apart into parts, and now his right arm is looking much more complete than it was before. All with the gleaming metal of the drill that you once punished. Now you've sent it to live with a being it does not know and off on a distant world to be used as scrap. God, you hated that drill.
That's Kuzon's code name in the MGS universe. Punished drill.
Punished drill. You can see him like looking at the arm for a moment. It's like, thank you for this deal.
Yeah, Kuzon kind of like points out like, well, that's a unique piece of tech. It has history.
Yes, I felt this would be good to take. It means something. That is what the door told me about.
So just imagine like turn around and you guys just Kuzon just has a little stump.
Yeah, you basically come out the door and Kuzon's missing his arm. He's like holding bits and pieces of it in his other hand. You see the guy like making notes like, huh, interesting. Lost arm, still alive. Well, that's two of you. Next.
I'm assuming Prava just went inside like immediately. He's on here in his.
Oh, 85. I actually do have a picture for this one. As you enter into the place, you enter into a place that, well, you don't recognize. It's almost a thick, smog-like area, though you're breathing in. You've never breathed in such clean air, despite what the place around you may tell you otherwise. And as you look around, you do see, well, half a body on the ground before you. It seems like something like a blue-skinned creature dried out, its mouth wide open, agape in fear, while its bottom half is basically shriveled into a singular, almost, well, a dangling part, its legs missing. And as you step closer with the chain tight around your arm, you see this cloth almost suddenly spring to life and wrap around the corpse, latching on violently with almost violent slap as it drags the body up, almost like a puppeteer. And I have a picture. There we go.
My gosh, are you okay? You look so wounded there. Is this why you called me through the door? Do you need help?
This one, the one I inhabit, is nothing but a puppet. I am fine.
You on the inside, are you okay?
He is deceased. You can see the parts of him glow a little as he's staring over you.
I mean, I guess that makes sense. Can't really live with half a body. So what's your deal? Why are you calling through this door? Are you just lonely out here?
I desired the door to appear once more, once I learned of its properties.
Would you be my friend?
Friendship. This is what you desire.
Yeah, you know, mutual care, compassion, trust. You know, if you want to, tell me some love stories or...
Friendship is not a thing that can be traded.
In my experience...
I could take that as a way that I will simply close the door, rake you from your very world, and keep you here forever to get to know me. You see him like suddenly fly up to you like he's in your face, with many coils of almost flesh-like cloth are going around you, almost like a dome. And he's like, I could simply remove every friend you ever had, so we would be the only friends.
I mean, that wouldn't be a very friendly thing to do, though. A friend recognizes that their friends have their own things going on.
But in your way, I would give you so much. Isn't that what you said? It is simply an exchange. If I exchanged much more than I took, then we would be friends. Isn't that how it works in your mind? Or perhaps you weren't speaking your true feelings. Which is it?
I mean, I thought I was speaking true, but maybe there's something in me that I don't understand or don't know.
You should be careful with how you, well, interact. You are lucky. You are so very lucky to have gotten me. I am a Jinn, master of deals and machinations. However, I only deal in fair trades. The last one that desired my power. He holds up his hand and the cloth uncoils from the demonic-like hand as he forces it to flex. Stayed with me so he could experience it. I sensed evil in his heart. I do not sense the same from you. So, I will give you only a fair deal.
Honestly, I've already gotten so much out of you. You've given me so much to think about and so much to consider. Do I have to make a deal?
No, you do not. That is a choice. That has always been a choice that people do not understand. No matter what, no matter how, no matter what stands in your way, you always have choices.
Yeah, I'm beginning to understand that more and more.
I will offer you this deal then, in exchange for what you asked for before. You carry many beings with you, each vying for their friendship. Even now, you enter as two instead of one, and I have overlooked it along with the door. He gestures to the symbiote on your shoulder. So, this shall be the deal that we exchange. You will have a chance to gain my friendship, but you must take a piece of me from this place to see the universe at large.
I mean,
This is the deal I offer you.
yeah, that doesn't sound like it has any downsides to me. How long have you been here in this empty place?
This place is as empty as you see it. But if you mean more of my kind, no, there are not many. Then I shall watch with great interest. May we talk again soon.
I'm looking forward to it.
He gives a small nod, and you see the cloths unwrap around the corpse, leaving it laying on the ground once more as it spreads throughout the area, like vines retreating.
All right, Prava's gonna have to figure out a way to affix this guy to his person, but for now he's just gonna like hand the vial to the symbiote, have it hold on to it, and
The symbiote is happy to grab onto it. It likes when you give it things.
It's like a baby.
Exactly.
also
So-
Prava's gonna watch to make sure it doesn't drop it, and then on out the door.
As you exit out of the door, you see everybody else there, including Kuzon with his missing arm, but everybody else looks perfectly healthy. The captain's actually surprised. It's like, huh, interesting. So very interesting.
Kuzon, looks like you made a deal. Are you okay?
I'll hold up the the leaky box. It's like, I got technology.
Oh.
Look what I got! You're missing your arm, but look at what I got! It's so awesome!
And Thiveron, did you make a deal?
Yes, I spoke with a celestial being and learned the tale of his people and what happened to them in exchange for one of my own stories.
Ah,
I also discovered how to seal this door, Captain. And then
Oh, what is that?
he starts winding his own chain around the door to seal it shut before taking his chain off.
I mean, I
As
could have
you-
thought of that.
As you do that, you see that both Pravas and Kuzons that they could still hold and easily take off themselves also just disappear into ethereal light as the door finally closes.
I mean, was
And-
that necessary? We got to benefit from this door. Why should other people not get to?
Well, as mentioned, the captain says, you guys were incredibly lucky. Seems like you didn't meet any of the demons or devils that were behind the door. Oh, if
No.
you did, you're extremely smart about
I'll
it.
have you know that I have a lovely devil friend named Z. She is a wonderful lady who would never wish harm upon anyone.
She is a succubus.
The captain, you can't tell under his helmet, but you could, like, everybody could probably tell that he's looking at Prava like he's insane. You are able to use the small crystal vial as a Solaran weapon if you desire.
Ooh, fancy. It's a question unique trait.
Yes, it is unknown to you.
It'll explode in your face.
Just. Kuzon got something pretty as well.
So is this kind of like a Solaran crystal where like I'd manifest my weapon around it and it would like enhance my weapons that already exist, or is it like its own weapon completely?
That you just have to replace your current crystal with it.
Gotcha. Nice.
Well, seems like the door's closed now. I guess we'll have to contain it and ship it out. Cognito hazard has stopped, according to our helmet's readout. Thank you for taking part in this test, by the way. Very informative.
Yeah, no. It was informative for me too. You know, gave me a lot to think about, a lot to consider.
Exactly. Well then, I suppose we're cool for our ship, and as soon as it's about to head off, you hear...
Yeah, Thiveron is already grabbing his spear.
I'll run outside.
You hear the door banging, actually.
Oh.
No.
You hear two doors is like always trying to open.
See, awfully mean of us to jam that door shut with the chains like that.
The chains are not actually there, it just seems they're trying to open it.
Prava's gonna go and touch the door.
As soon as you reach out to touch the door, even before you've taken a step, the door itself springs open, and you see this very small child stumble onto the warm, wooden floor. He has no shoes, just a long coat covering him down to his knees, and he's like got a hood over his face, like, where am I? And all of you currently there, even you, Aiden, you feel like something compels you. You know what to do. You must make a deal.
What?
This person requires something. You must make a deal.
The door likes making deals.
Is it like the effect that people on the other side had, where they feel like, is this kid gonna offer us a deal? Does that knowledge flood into our head that?
It seems like he wants something. Perhaps you should make a deal.
Are you okay? That door. You weren't. This kid didn't go in while you guys were here, did he?
No, we don't know him. The others are getting their guns ready, but the kid looks up from the floor and up to both of you and says, You have to help me. They're chasing me.
Who's chasing you?
His servants. They're chasing me, and I need to escape. Please stop them.
Well, yeah, we got a spaceship here. We can just get out of here. There's no way they can chase you through the drift, right?
The what? So you help me?
Of course, I can't leave a kid in danger. Who would chase after you?
And with that, you feel a sense of relief wash over all of you. As, well, you have made a deal. And with the deal comes, almost like ghosts, you see ethereal beings twist and writhe in cloaks of crimson red, step out from seemingly nothing. Then roll me initiative.